There once was this lady. I don't know what attracted me to her or her to me. I don't know what enticed her to speak, but she spoke well and with elegance, proper etiquette, and intelligence. The conversation was brief but beautiful. She left a very lasting first impression. Her personality manifested her reflection, or maybe even illuminated it a bit more. I wasn't sure whether I was the kind of man that she'd go for, because she seemed like the type of queen that most cats would willingly worship. Deeper than would surface, she was damn near perfect. That made me nervous and questioned everything about her, but in return she opened up and told me everything about her. It seems like our past was far from similar. She fell and gave her heart to quite a few men that turned out to not truly be into her as much as she was into them. And to me, that should have made her want to take things slowly, yet she still cared. For me, she was still there, and that brought about my suspicions. She said love. Love was her favorite religion. Tried convincing me to follow, but I was resisting because it was my curiosity that was stopping me. Like, what made me so different? I figured she only paid me attention to help her gain closure, but with time, it's like we only became closer and closer. I felt how she liked me a lot more than I liked her. I expressed how it was my trust issues that conflicted with my feel for a commitment, but she never listened. She was persistent, and that further hindered my interest. Like, why was she seeking so much of my undivided attention? I was okay with being single and naive, while she became too anxious and gullible, and that made me uncomfortable. We stayed in touch. I kept her close to me, since that's like it's where she wanted to be, but emotionally, I kept my distance. I thought she'd see the difference, but she didn't. She insisted on treating me like a king. She sacrificed so much of herself for me, and I selfishly reaped the increments, knowing I was taking advantage. I only liked her under certain conditions. I only called her when needed. It was as if she was accepting to being just a convenience. She even prayed for me, all while I preyed on her vulnerability. Her faith in me was her biggest weakness. I became content with making the same mistakes, because how forgiving she was didn't make any sense. She became more and more intimate as we became more and more into it. But I thought it'd be best if we kept this affair that we shared a secret, knowing she was giving me her everything and had nothing to show for it. When one night she came. She gave me her hand, and she asked me, between her and the world, which would I rather lose? It was kind of like she was making me choose. So I gave her hand back and refused, and she said just as I went to sleep that you will never find another me, but I ignored her. And when I woke up, I felt like I was in what felt like a kingdom full of clouds, surrounded by women that looked just as immaculate as she, and there she stood, looked me square in the eye, and she said, "Hi, my child." That's when I realized that I was accompanied by angels, and she stood right there behind heaven's gates, looking me square in the face. And that's when I realized that it was a little bit too late for me to care or ask for any forgiveness, because this entire time, I was treating God like she was just another friend with benefits. It's yours truly. How y'all doing?